The outrage continues over the murder of a 7-year-old who was found with his throat slit in a Gurugram school. Now, there hasn't been much of an update in terms of the investigation, but what we can tell you at this point is that despite the police having arrested the school bus conductor on charges of murdering the boy while attempting to sexually abuse him, the parents of the victim as well as the general public do not appear convinced and are demanding a more intensive probe. The matter made its way into India's Supreme Court today. There's more on this story in this next report. Take a look.
On Monday, India's apex court sought responses from the centre and the Haryana government while hearing a petition seeking a CBI probe into the killing of 7-year-old Pradyuman, a Class 2 student of WION International School, Gurugram. The Supreme Court also asked for a response from the Central Board of Secondary Education and observed that this petition is not restricted only to the school concerned as it has country-wide ramifications. The centre and state governments and the CBSE have been asked to respond within 3 weeks. The father of the deceased boy is demanding a CBI inquiry into the case and has alleged that the murder was planned. The father has said that it all seems too coincidental that the conductor was alone with his son, happened to have a knife and committed the crime so quickly. The gruesome murder has led to public outrage across the country. Parents of children enrolled in the school under fire have been protesting at its gates ever since the incident came to light. There is a lurking suspicion that the school is trying to hush up the case.
We are inside WION International School and we are at the exact spot where this crime scene happened and the death of the 7-year-old child took place on last Friday. Here it is the same washroom whose windows are broken and there are no grills in the washroom. This is the same washroom inside which the incident took place. I'll ask my camera person to show you the blood spots of after the incident took place. And as the police has accused Ashok, the bus conductor, that he is the murderer, the theory or the narrative that police has given, according to it, Ashok was the murderer, is the murderer, and he came here and inside this washroom he killed Pradyuman. The SIT has found that there were so many lapses in the security of the school. There were no enough CCTV cameras installed inside the school, which is also one of the reasons that SIT has demanded that the registration or the license of the school should be cancelled. With video journalist Joy Nagin Singh, WION.
Human Resource Development Minister Prakash Javadekar today assured the public that the government will try to arrive at a solution that will prevent crimes altogether.
Joining me live on the broadcast to talk more about that terrible incident is my colleague Sneha Shri Mukherjee. She's joining in live from Gurugram. Also with me is my colleague Raghavendra Rao. He's standing by here in the WION newsroom. Sneha, I'll come to you first. What do the parents make of the line of investigation so far?
Sorry, Asha, I didn't get your question.
I said, Sneha, if you can tell us what exactly the parents of this child make of the line of investigation so far.
The parents are demanding a CBI probe. They also think that the police or the convict that they have caught, Ashok, the conductor, they think that they are framing him up, and rightly so, because today we have visited his village and Ashok doesn't seem to be that kind of a person with that kind of a record. So although the parents doesn't have a clarity on what could be the motivation of whom or whatsoever, they are demanding a CBI probe.
All right, stay with me, Sneha. Let me go across to Raghavendra Rao. Raghavendra, is anyone even talking about the sort of psychological trauma that children who are going to continue attending that school are going to have to go through, given the heinous nature of this crime and the fact that this was a young 7-year-old boy who was going to perhaps what parents think is the safest place outside of their own homes?
Absolutely, Aisha, and for any parent, nothing could be more safe than a school premises. And the fact that normally, I mean, once you leave your child in a school or you send your child in the morning in a school bus, a parent normally feels that yes, now the child will be safe and secure for the next few hours till he or she returns back home. The kind of incident we have witnessed in Gurugram, it's shocking to say the least, but the kind of lapses which are now surfacing, this school apparently has no boundary wall. It's just a cakewalk for anybody to get inside the school premises from any side, from any direction. Also the fact that there were no separate washrooms for the support staff. These drivers and conductors who were operating the fleet of buses in the school were apparently using the same washrooms which were being used by other support staff and even children. Now these are lapses. Also many schools these days prescribe that there needs to be at least a helper or a guard near or around all the toilets in school premises. Clearly that was not the case here.
Right.
But most importantly, the biggest lapse which appears to have happened here is, even despite having CCTVs inside the school premises, there are areas which these CCTVs don't cover. That makes the entire exercise futile. I mean, if you have CCTVs, the idea is to have footage which can actually help an investigation. In this particular case, I reckon it will be very difficult to find footage of much relevance from the CCTVs.
And it's interesting you say that, Raghavendra, because no matter what the incident, when it is in India, it seems like it's always reactive, the action. Trains derail and then there's a sort of an investigation that's formed. Now this school itself, now it's not any school, it's a group of institutions. There are more than 100 under the WION group in India alone. They have overseas branches itself. Last year there was an incident in one of the schools in Vasant Kunj in the national capital, where another young child was found dead in a water tank. So does that even go to show that, despite there being outrage last time around, this incident happens once again? And you're pointing out that CCTV footage is perhaps not even going to be of relevance because we don't even know if the cameras were functioning. Why do these schools operate with such impunity when there have been lapses in the past as well?
Well, to describe all that you said, I would use just one word. It is apathy and nothing else. Most of these schools, particularly the private ones, these days, the focus is not really on safety and security of the child. Most of these schools, and I hate to say that, but the fact of the matter remains that most of these schools have just become teaching shops. All they are concerned with is the kind of money they can generate from the parents, from the people who send their children to these schools. Issues like these only are talked about and only get raised once a tragedy happens, and that is the biggest tragedy of it all. These safety issues, these security issues do not even reach the discussion stage, and for that I would also blame the parents to some degree, because the parents also till nothing happens, nobody seems to notice the kind of glaring gaps we have in our systems. Now it's very easy for any person to just walk into any of the schools in Delhi or the NCR region. Once a tragedy like this happens, you have schools issuing detailed guidelines, you have schools saying that we will only allow people who are authorized to enter school premises,
yes.
We will issue identity cards to even parents and relatives of the student. These things are always done in a knee-jerk fashion. These are processes which are rarely followed before an untoward incident happens, and that is something which we need to look at, and that is something which the society as a whole needs to do something about.
Absolutely, especially when it comes to the lives of young children. We're not even talking about this being an attack on, a formal institution of this country. Stay with me, both Sneha and Raghavendra. We want to listen in also to two reactions we've received so far. One, of course, from Prakash Javadekar, the other from Mr. Pinto, who happens to be the head of the group of WION schools. Let's listen into both of those.
Both unfortunate incidences in Delhi, one rape of a 5-year-old girl and a murder of 7-year student, is a very tragic and very heinous crimes. And therefore, we all must act together. So Haryana, it's essentially the school education with the state government. So state government has to do their duty, but at the same time, the schools and the parents all must come together and work together how to come at a better solution.
our 4-decade-long reputation as a credible educational institution, educating lakhs of students across the nation. We would like to emphasize that our WION school takes all efforts to ensure the security of its students. We want to reassure all of our parents across the nation that the well-being and safety of our students is our priority.
Let me go back to my colleague Sneha Mukherjee, who joins us on the broadcast. Sneha, what exactly are the parents of other students at WION International School demanding of both the administration of the school and, of course, the state and central governments?
If I get a question rightly, Aisha, you are asking me about the reaction of the other parents on the event?
Yes.
The other parents are right now, be it Gurgaon WION International School or the two Noida WION International School, they are worried about their child. They are right now looking at the security of the school. They are asking the staff and the members what are the steps which they would take in such a scenario. And yeah, that is it. At present, the parents are scared about their own children.